First thing, right off the bat, this is a coats basic video. So if you live somewhere where coats doesn't really apply to you, that is totally fine. You don't have to watch this video. I'll be doing a jackets one separate. But I'm so excited for this next video in my series, The Best Basics for Your Body Type. We're gonna be talking about winter coats, heavier weight coats, and how to choose the right ones for your body shape. The first one I think works for everyone, and you can find lightweight versions of these and much heavier versions, is a classic trench coat. Every single person can have one in their wardrobe if they want to. One of my favorite qualities of a trench coat is the fact that it has that soft waist belt, so you can adjust it higher if you need to, lower if you need to. I know most of them come with belt loops, but those again are soft as well. I know right now we're seeing a lot of more oversized trench coats and ones that are a little bit longer, but to get just that classic timeless style, I would shoot for an above the knee length. I would really know that measurement from your shoulders to right above your knee. That way you can buy a trench coat that's more likely to fit you and that you don't need to go get tailored, because that tailoring can get expensive. The other quality to keep in mind with your trench coat is your shoulders. Some trench coats might have some extra embellishings or epaulettes on the shoulders, and if you have an extreme end of one shoulder, whether that's very broad or very narrow, that can really impact whether that's the right trench for you. The key here is going to be balanced. If you have broad shoulders and there's a lot of embellishment, it's really off balance for the rest of your body. But at the same time, if you go too minimal when you have broad shoulders, it could look like you're trying to hide something that can't be hidden. The next coat is a wool coat. These could be single-breasted or double-breasted. I think the key here for length is you want it to hit just about at your knee, maybe a little bit below. I think especially right now that oversized trend works really well for wool coats because they kind of are already a little bit long. I love that wool material and how it's thick, it keeps you warm, but it also creates structure. And structure is a really fun quality to play with when you're playing with style. But you do want to make sure that you can close it. I think for all of these coats, you want to be able to close them. Sometimes I do recommend sizing down because you don't need to close some jackets, but that's a whole nother video. More to come soon. Now, if you saw my first video in this basic series, we talked a lot about color and having 3 to 5, preferably more 4 to 5 colors that are kind of your core colors for your wardrobe. Now, for this coat in particular, I would choose a dark version and a light version of whatever those colors are. Now for coats, they can be more expensive. You don't need as many of them as you need a t-shirt. So for a lot of coats, I recommend out of, let's say, 4 colors in your color wardrobe, picking the lightest option and the darkest option and using those as your anchor pieces. With that, of course, you can choose solids, single-breasted versus double-breasted, and it gives you some room to play and have some different options. But if you want to take it a step further, maybe have a little bit more fun with your wardrobe, maybe you're not a solids person, pattern is another great way to add just a little bit of fun and a little bit of excitement to a wool coat. I will say it is very easy for a pattern to overwhelm a wool coat because it is a bit longer. So be careful in the patterns that you choose. If they're high contrast, big, bold, bright, they're going to take up a large part of your outfit. It's going to look like that is your body. So if it's a really oversized coat, it could make your body look disproportionately larger or kind of almost disproportionately shorter since it doesn't go all the way to the floor. Which leads me to my next coat, the full length single-breasted coat. Now I say single-breasted because the key to a full-length coat is that it creates a nice long shape. You don't want that double-breastedness creating extra shapes out here. You want a really tailored look from top to bottom. Again, you're really going to want to know your measurements. What are your shoulders to your ankle-ish? Because again, you could find a coat that you love, but if you're not paying attention to how long it is on the model online or how long it is in the description, and then you get it and it's a lot longer on you, that is a lot harder to tailor. Or even the opposite side where it's not long enough on you because you're very tall. Your tailor can't do anything about that. When choosing a color for a full length coat, I still generally keep to my choose a lighter and a darker version. Maybe for a full length, you just need one. It is a little bit more niche and maybe doesn't apply to everyone, but I really do think it can. I would encourage choosing a color that is opposite in tone from your hair or your skin. The reason for that being, if you get one that matches the same color as your skin, you could look literally head to toe that one color. And it's nice to create a little bit of breakup, a little bit of visual interest by just having at least your head looking a bit different. Let's say you have really dark hair. If you pair that with a black full-length coat, while that look is gorgeous, it could just make you look really, really long to the point where you're feeling lost. Hey, I'm so happy you're still watching. It means a lot to me. I put a lot of effort into these videos. I would love if you gave this video a thumbs up and double check that you're subscribed. So I kind of threw these ones in the same category, but they're a little bit different, but not always different. And that is the Parkas and Puffer coats. I think a lot of parkas are also puffers, but some parkas look like puffers, but they're not actually puffers. So we're just putting them here in the same category. If you live somewhere that's super cold, maybe you want to separate those and have different options for those. Again, we're seeing the oversized trend right now, but I'm going to encourage you not to go too marshmallowy in your puffers. It's going to become a dated look, I think, pretty soon. And we want a proportional puffer that doesn't look too tight, that makes it look like you're very quilted. And I know that's not super specific advice for your body type, and it kind of takes just trying some things on to know what is going to be overly puffed. There's definitely been some puffers that I've tried where it looks super proportional on the model or in the pictures or on influencers, and then I put it on and I feel like I'm drowning. But if you want to be a little bit trendy, a slight oversize is okay. The other thing to keep in mind when it comes to puffers and parkas is how they fit around your neck. If you have a long neck, maybe you can get away with a little bit more, but if you have a shorter neck and like longer hair, that puff, you know it just gets in the way and it quickly can become overwhelming, which is actually okay if you plan on leaving it open, because then you get that little bit of air, you get, you know, some openness, it's not completely crowding your neck. But if you plan to zip it up and actually use that coat as a coat to keep your neck warm, then you're really gonna wanna pay attention to what that collar's doing and what kind of neck that you have. There are a lot of parkas and puffers out there that have some belting or some waist detailing that is pretty limiting. I've also seen some that just sort of nicely emphasize the waist. So if you find that your waist is hard to emphasize, or if it's hard to pinpoint exactly where it is on your body, which is usually if you have a short torso, your waist can be harder to fit into things, I would steer more towards either no waist emphasis at all, or kind of some nice stitching or some nice structure without it being like a belt or something really rigid around your waist. So I know this coat also comes in wool, and I separate it from other wool coats because it doesn't have to come in wool, but it's the Peacoat. I think the thing I really love about coats and jackets when that video comes out is that they can really elongate or lengthen the torso for if you have a short torso. It kind of does a beautiful layering job of taking your torso and making it just look a little bit more proportional with your legs. And honestly, for me, I think the Peacoat does that perfectly. It's not too long that you have to worry about where it's gonna fit on your legs. Is it gonna make you look shorter or taller? It is going to fit you perfectly every single time. It's a very flattering length for everyone. And if you're thinking, hey Jules, I just want one, what would you recommend? Like, what color should I get? Of course, look through your colors, look through your wardrobe, see what you think fits. If you have a shorter torso, choose a color that is close, less contrast, match, less contrast. It doesn't have to match, it just has to be in the same kind of tone as your hair. That way you're getting a nice color block from your hair all the way down to around your hip bone, and then you have your legs at the bottom. Versus if you have a long torso, creating a little bit of contrast there, especially if you have longer hair, is gonna help break up your torso. It's gonna give the eye two different things to look at when it's above your hips. But I do recommend having more than one just because it is such a versatile piece. Now, please, if you like this video, if you like this series, give it a thumbs up so I know to keep making these videos. Make sure you're subscribed because we will be doing jackets very soon. I love coats and jackets, so I had to split it up. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. Bye.